Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So after 2 years the project middle rudder conversion continues on this little Magic Vee boat from Joyce Way. For you, those of you who have seen the older videos, the last part number 6, I presented to you that the paint job was a failure on the older boat, and I didn't know how to get the paint off, and the reason the paint job was a failure was because even if I had wet sanded the entire hull, it showed afterwards when I tried to remove the paint as good as I could. It still was a very, very thin plastic film over the entire hull, and that was the reason that the paint job didn't stick directly to the hole that it should be. So I just didn't have the motivation to try to remove the paint at first. I tried this year in the springtime actually to get it off with some fluid. I cannot say it in English, but I give it a try, and it was no good. So I thought it was better to buy a new boat instead. And I also saw that they have released a new version of this boat. I don't know when, but it was with a new radio and things like that. So I thought it was better to just buy a new one instead, because it is pretty cheap anyway, and continue this middle rudder conversion on this new boat instead. So I just like to try to show you what I've done so far. I had already made aluminum tubes ready to go to just be mounted on the boat, on the older boat, but then as I just said, the paint job was a stop for me to continue. But here I have actually made and mounted everything here, and these tubes are the third version of the longer tubes they had done the first time compared to the original tubes. And that was because with this new boat, this I have to do this instead, I think. Try to watch the camera at the same time here. This flex axle tube here sticking out just a few millimeters more than it was on the other boat. But on the other boat, I have make that flex tube a little bit shorter by pushing it in a little bit further, closer to the motor actually, and then glue it. So that's why this on the original here, these tubes was at first too short, but now it's long enough, because I didn't want. I just wanted to make sure that this locking nut and axles threads here doesn't touch the backside of the rudder. So, and the next step I have to do is I'm gonna show you one more time here. This is also a change I have made off camera. At first, as you can see, this piano thread has a bending to this side, and that is because in the original this rudder has a inbuilt plastic thing sticking out here with a hole for this item to be used here. So that's why I bended this specially, just so I can use the rudder as this was originally. But with this bending, it did not work to steer to the right. I don't know exactly why, but it has to do with this bending. It went very, very small movement compared to the left side, so it was able to pull the rudder good, but not to push. So I realized that I had to try to make my own plastic thing here, or it is actually made of a carbon fiber, 1 millimeter. So I drilled a hole here, 1 millimeter, and tried to use the drill as a cutting machine and make the hole square, or rectangular, I mean. So there's carbon fiber part sticking out here extra, and have reinforced with extra epoxy. And the whole thing is epoxy glued, by the way. But extra epoxy here to just smooth out the surface after I cut away the original plastic thing. And just to make it look a little better and reinforce everything. So it would hold up pretty good, I think. But because of this bending, I have to cut away this piano thread and make a new one that is just going straight forward here, right into the adjustable hole here. So that should do it to be a very good steering, both left and right. So you can, the servo can just pull very good or push very good. So that's the next step I have to do, is to just make a new piano thread, and I want to paint it black with a heat-resisting paint. So there is where we are right now. And I also have I can also just very short say the differences between the older version that I had before compared to this new one, if you are not familiar with this boat. But the last version, the ESC and the receiver is also inbuilt in each other like this one, but that was more simpler made with just a water protected thing that was lying loose here in the rear, and also had an antenna sticking up here with a rubber sealing here. But this new version, it is a ESC again with an inbuilt antenna, but in this little plastic box here that is seated well with double-sided tape here instead. And I had remove all this so I can and I'm also using M2 millimeter screws here that is rust free, with a locking nut inside here. In the original you have more. I try to show you the original screws. Oh, I don't know how good it's gonna see it, but this is the original screws with no locking nut or nut whatsoever. More like a what do you call it? A wooden screw, but you see, and I think you know what I mean anyway. Hope you can see it though. So I want to use a locking nut inside just to be sure that it sits very well. I have to remove all this, and I also on the original ESC here, the contact they are using for the battery is some red GR contact of some sort, and I don't have those type of cables to charge the battery in my big battery charger. So I changed the contact to a Futaba female contact instead, and also I not using the original motor either. I'm using a motor that with a higher RPM, and that is also connected together with the Futaba contact. So I just cut the original cable and put the Futaba GR female contact here. So I don't think you can see it very well, but it is in there. So that's the changes I also made. And also using my own bigger water cooler here. So made from aluminum tube. So this can contain a little bit more water before it gets out compared to the original one. So, but there you have it. So the next step, as I said, is gonna make a new piano thread for the servo to the rudder and paint it. So, but at least the project continues and it's almost done. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.